What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto forced to become a ninja? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. Walking down the streets, a 12-year-old boy with blonde, spiky hair, plain jeans and shirt was carrying a basket full of fruits. He stopped at a little watermelon stand and stared at some of them. They looked good to him. "Ah, Naruto-kun, can I offer you a watermelon?" the kind man at the stand asked the little boy, who was now identified as Naruto. He smiled brightly. "Of course. Tonight I am going to help out at the academy. The parents are coming for a visit and we want to have some refreshments and fruits available for them." "Well, I'll be there tonight. My youngest son wants me to see what he has done, so I'll be closing early today," the man said as he began looking for a great watermelon to give to Naruto. "By the way, did you hear about recent thieving going around in the village?" Naruto shook his head in the negative. "I haven't heard about that, no. Is it serious?" he asked. The man nodded. "Indeed, some gold have been stolen from the feudal lord," he said. "There has been a request sent to some leaf ninja. They'll be here today. They asked me to take them in and be their guide, but I also have that parent night at the academy and so do you. I'm thinking of inviting them." Naruto nodded. "You could do that. The more the merrier. Besides, since some of the students are orphans, we still have lots of room for some extra." "Right, you just moved out of the orphanage. How is it living alone?" the man asked. "It's actually fun, but I hate doing all the chores," Naruto whined. The man laughed loudly. "Well, you'll just have to deal with that. I offered you to move in with us, but you refused, saying that you didn't want to bother us," the man said. "Anyways, here is your watermelon. Come visit my house anytime. Taiga could really use company with his broken leg and all." Naruto chuckled nervously. Sorry about that. I tried talking him out of trying to be a ninja and jumping from tree to tree." "Don't worry about that. My son is just an idiot like that," the man said. "Yeah, sorry, he really is," Naruto agreed. "Well anyways, I have to go now, I can't be late. See you later tonight, Nakamaru-san." And with that, Naruto ran off to the academy, where he had to pass by the village's gates. He stopped as he looked at the three walking people outside the village. That must be the ninja Nakamaru-san was talking about, he thought. Kakashi-sensei, a girl with pink hair said, loudly, "There is a boy there. We could ask him to find the place we're looking for." The tall man with silver hair nodded. "We could. He also seems to have spotted us. Wave kids," he said as he waved to Naruto. Naruto stared at the three ninjas, who were now standing in front of him. Real ninja, I've never seen one up close before, Naruto thought. "Hello," Kakashi said. "We're looking for a Nakamaru Koda-san." Naruto nodded. "He's the owner of a watermelon stand, not so far away. I was just there, so he's still open." The boy with spiky black hair stared at Naruto. "You look our age," he simply said. I'm 12, he muttered. Naruto couldn't help but being a bit shy about this. He had never talked to people from another village before. "My name is Uzumaki Naruto, a friend of Nakamaru-san and his family." "I'm Hitaki Kakashi," the silver-haired guy said. "I'm the sensei of these two people. The pink-haired one is Haruno Sakura and the black-haired is Uchiha Sasuke. Nice to meet you all. I have to get these things to the academy fast, so I can't show you to Nakamaru-san, sorry," he said. "Ah, we could help out," Sakura suggested. "We arrived early, so we're in no rush, right sensei?" Kakashi nodded. "You seem to be holding a lot of things, Naruto-kun. Let me take this basket." It's alright, you don't have to," Naruto said politely. "I'm pretty strong, despite my untrained body. Just let us ninja do the job, Naruto-kun," Kakashi said as he took the watermelon out of Naruto's hands. "This is such a small village. It's like a quarter of the Leaf Village." Sensei, you shouldn't insult the village like that," Sakura scolded. "Maybe it's a sensitive subject towards one of the villagers." No, Sakura tilde. Kakashi sang, "You just indirectly agreed with me." "No really. Stop talking about it," Sasuke said. "It's obvious that this guy isn't from this village." "How is that obvious, Sasuke-kun?" Sakura asked. Sasuke sighed. "By his name, Uzumaki. We learned about that name in the academy," he said as if that was the most basic information in the world. "The Uzumaki clan are supposed to be seal masters. But this guy looks nothing like a ninja, look at his arms, they're too thin." Sakura said. Even thinner than mine. It's true that I'm not from here, but I don't know where I'm really from, Naruto interfered. Ma, Sakura, you shouldn't be jealous of his thin and formed arms, Kakashi teased. What did you just say, sensei? She yelled as she punched him, causing him to drop the watermelon. Naruto paled. That was the watermelon to the academy. I bought it with their money, he thought. The watermelon. Sorry, Naruto-kun, Kakashi apologized. Sakura has always had anger management's problems. It's like every day is that time of the month with her. Sensei. Sakura yelled, embarrassed. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun. I'll buy a new watermelon for you. It was for the academy, so don't worry about it, he said. I'll just go buy a new one, myself. I could show you to Nakamaru-san at the same time. I'll pay, she said. You can't refuse. It was my fault that you dropped the watermelon. Which means that I'll have to pay for her, Kakashi said with a finishing sigh. Ah, Naruto-kun, Koda said. You're already back, huh? Oh, and you've brought ninja with you, huh? Naruto laughed, nervously. Why, you see, I kind of stumbled upon them. Let me guess, he said, you lost the watermelon? Naruto sighed. I know you've always had weak arms, but seriously. Koda complained. Sorry, he muttered. No, Sakura exclaimed. It was my fault, I'm sorry. Haruno-san, it's alright, he isn't mad at me, Naruto said. Koda laughed. Don't mind, he said. Well then, I'll be closing for the day. Naruto-kun, feel free to pick any watermelon and come back to our place, alright? You can go after an hour. And so, Naruto agreed and the four of them took their leave to the Nakamaru residence. Oi, you, a boy with black hair and bright red eyes yelled. You never visited me after the accident, you bastard. Sorry, Tai-chan, Naruto muttered, as Team Kakashi and himself were seated around the warm kotatsu. Sorry my ass, Taiga yelled. You're not the least sorry, you're amused by this. Now, introduce me, you bastard. Naruto laughed shortly. This is Hitaki Kakashi-san, the leader of the team, and these are his two students, Uchiha Sasuke-kun and Haruno Sakura-san. Sakura-san, nay? He muttered with a smug smile. I am Nakamaru Taiga, you can all call me Tai-chan. Sakura bowed, politely, to him. Please take care of us, she said. Kakashi stared at Taiga's leg. What happened, Tai-chan? I fell from a tree, he answered plainly. This guy is at fault, he pointed at Naruto. If he hadn't suddenly ran up a tree and then jumped from there to the roof of the academy, then I would have been fine, but no tilde. A cat is more important than me. Naruto sighed. You shouldn't imitate me. But you were bragging, as if you were a ninja. I was trying to help the cat. By acting like a ninja? How come you even ran up the tree? Kakashi, Sakura and Sasuke perked up again. You ran up? Kakashi asked, with his one eye wide. Naruto began trembling under their stare. Why, he coughed. Yes. Like, without your hands? Sakura questioned. He nodded. Sasuke muttered. Sharingan and two red orbs came into sight, with one black tomo on one and two on the other. Red met blue, which soon turned to black for Naruto. You really think this is the right thing to do? A person asked. It's better for him here than that village, another answered. If the village finds out that the Uchihas helped the host, they'll think we're plotting something. He's a child, the person yelled. We can't leave his legacy in that town, only to get beaten up every minute of the day. The two of them ran through the forest as if their lives depended on it, with a little child in their hands. After some distance traveled, they stopped outside a small village. This is where we'll leave him, Shisui? The person, beside the one who was carrying the child, asked. This is better and calmer for him, Shisui answered. Now, we'll put him here. He put the child down in front of the entrance to the village, managing to wake him up at the same time. Ah, Naruto, you're awake, he said and put his thumb on his forehead. I'm sorry, but you'll have to forget all about Konoha. The black went away, and Naruto jumped up in shock, whilst Sasuke deactivated his Sharingan. Naruto looked at Taiga and bowed slightly. Sorry, Tai-chan, I have to get to the academy now, bye, and off Naruto went in a hurry with all the groceries and the newly bought watermelon. That bastard, Taiga muttered. But hey, Sasuke-kun, you have some awesome eyes, you know. I've never seen Narupion like that. Sasuke raised an eyebrow. Narupion? He nodded. Everyone our age calls him that. You know, because animals love him. Taiga laughed, but he's still a mystery for everyone since he came to this village. I was the one who found him. He was beaten up at the entrance to the village, and was cold from top to toe. I found him in the morning, on the way to Dad's work, and then suddenly, bam! A 5-year-old sat there, half dead. Kakashi perked up. He was found, huh? As he suspected, Naruto really is the Jinchuriki. Taiga nodded, yet again. When he woke up, 3 days later, he couldn't remember anything but his name and some blurry images of him being beaten up by some unknown people. And then, when he was asleep, he kept on muttering Uchiwa, you know the fan. A.N. Uchiha comes from the word Uchiwa, which means fan, which also hints to the Uchiha clan symbol. Nice played, Kishi-sensei. Uchiwa, Sasuke muttered in wonder. Have you found out where he was from? Nope, Taiga answered immediately, whilst shaking his head, no. But I see the potential of a ninja in him. You should be able to it too, sensei. Kakashi nodded. Trust me. With what I've heard about already, there is no doubt that I have a suspicion for where he is from, and why you see a potential ninja in him. Taiga blinked in wonder. What? How come you've figured out where he is from? He gave an eye smile. Sasuke-kun already explained earlier that Uzumaki is a clan name, which consists of seal masters. Although, Uzu-Shiogakure, which is where the Uzumakis are from, has already been destroyed, causing the worldwide Uzumaki diaspora. It's rare to actually see one, nowadays. So he is a survivor from Uzu-Shiogakure? Taiga questioned. Kakashi shook his head. That incident happened before even I was born, Kakashi said. But let me ask you something. Naruto-kun is an orphan, but how did he live here? When we found him, we sent him to the orphanage where he got to go to the academy, Taiga answered. Of course all the kids out there liked him, still does mind you, but I am his best friend. He lives alone right now, but my parents consider him as their own child, so he often eats here. Well, he hasn't exactly visited after the accident. They were silent for a few moments, until Kakashi spoke again. Well, we better get ready for our mission, right? Naru-pion, a little boy, with black hair and bright red eyes, called out. He was an exact copy of Taiga, just a bit younger. Yuki-kun, Naruto greeted as the younger version of Taiga, who came and took some of the heavy groceries out of his hands. Thank you. So, did you just walk out of my house? He asked. Naruto nodded. Your older brother is mad at me. Tai-ni-chan is? Yuki questioned. Ignore the idiot, he isn't worth it. Yu-chan. You shouldn't call your brother such names, he scolded. Yuki laughed. Like you care, you said it last week. I'm such a bad role model, Naruto thought. Anyways, chance the topic, you're helping out at the academy today, too, Yuki-kun? He nodded, eagerly. Yes, it'll be awesome. I've heard the ninjas are going to show up, too. It'll be so cool to hear an actual ninja story. I hate legends. They're so boring. Naruto laughed. Though, I really like the one with the 4th Hokage of Konohagakure. The one where he defeats the Kyuubi. I always wonder how he did it. Naruto-kun, Kakashi sang happily, at the little village's academy's open house. What do you learn here? Naruto looked up at him with a smile, as he offered him some juice, which he gratefully accepted. We learn stuff about the village, about the marketing and what to do when the village is under attack, he answered. We also learn about other villages and their history. We learn about the past and the present. Kakashi muttered, wouldn't it be more awesome to be a ninja? Actually, I would like to start my own shop one day, so I think this school is pretty fun, Naruto answered honestly. What kind of shop? Sasuke asked, as he held some water up in a cup. You don't have that many opportunities in this small village, right? What are they trying to say? Naruto wondered. I really want to, maybe, have a business going, where I get out of the village a little. Like, they order some stuff from me that doesn't exist in this town, and I travel to another village to get it. Like that? How is that a shop? Sakura asked, curious. It seemed like Team Kakashi was interested in the boy. Am I being attacked? He wondered, though with the suspicious thought he still managed to keep up a smile. I could transport more items at once, so that I didn't have to make second turns. Like, I'll open the shop on weekdays, and close it to travel on weekends. Wouldn't you like living in a bigger village? Sasuke questioned. Naruto shook his head, no. Though, this village is small and nothing interesting happens, everybody knows each other and we're all very happy, he replied with a smile. Sakura, Sasuke, over here for a moment. Kakashi ordered, and they all moved away from Naruto and formed a circle while having their hands on their thighs. The plan isn't working. Sakura and Sasuke sighed. Then how are supposed to persuade him to move to Konoha? Sasuke asked. I'll use my feminine charm, I guess, Sakura suggested. We want him in, not out, Sasuke muttered. Rude, she said. I can hear you, Naruto thought, feeling uncomfortable under their discussion. Naruto-kun, could you help entertain some of the kids? One of the teachers asked him, whilst pointing at the bored group of kids. It would be a great help whilst we talk with the parents. Sure, Naruto replied and walked towards the kids, who brightened up at his arrival. Naru-pion. They cheered in unison and with a smile on their faces. A girl with light brown hair and green eyes stood up from the ground she was sitting on and walked towards Naruto and pulled him with her. Hurry, hurry, we're bored. Haven't you talked to the ninjas yet? He asked. I'm sure they could tell you tons and tons of stories. But, the little girl stuttered, but we like Naru-pion's stories. Like the one where you and Tai-chan traveled out of the village for the first time and got lost. We want to hear that story again. He chuckled. Alright then, An-chan, he agreed and looked at the other kids. Sit around in a circle and you all got something to drink, right? They nodded in unison as they formed a circle with Naruto. Let's begin from where we were asked by Nakamura-san, Tai-chan's father, to get him some stuff from the other village. Skip it and go to the fun stuff, a boy complained. Ah, we would like to hear, too. The group jumped in surprise when they saw Team Kakashi behind them, all ready to listen to Naruto's tale. The more the merrier, right? Kakashi said with glint in his eyes. That looks so evil, Naruto thought. Well then, please join us, Kakashi-san. He did his best trying not to look terrified. So, let's start from the fun stuff, as Shintaro-kun said. Nakamura-san saw us off at the gate, with a smile on his face and just to scare us, a knife, which he uses to cut the watermelons with, in his right hand, whilst he waved with his other. It was a year ago, so it was when we were 11, Tai-chan and I that is. We were naive kids, so we didn't think that we would need a map, or anything. And by naive, I mean that Tai-chan refused to use a map, saying that a real man go by instincts. That didn't go as well as he thought it would, because we ended up out in nowhere. We didn't know where we were, or how we even got there, so I suggested that we ask the next person, who came by, but I'm not sacrificing my manliness, just so you can sleep in a warm bed, tonight, he yelled at me. If we don't find the village before sunset, then we'll camp outside. Of course, I had to follow what he said, or else he would cut me open. If I have no sense of direction, he started out, slowly, then I'll have to ask people for direction, and then my manhood will get cut off. I have committed a sin, Kami-sama. That night, we still didn't ask anyone for directions, and we had to sleep in the forest, which was quite scary, because of all the noises there were, but what never got me to sleep was the trembling Tai-chan, who was sleeping by my side, whilst clutching, downstairs. Would you stop telling embarrassing stories about me in front of the people? A voice sounded and Naruto turned to it, showing Taiga with his crutches. Seriously, that's evil. I didn't think you were coming, today, Naruto stuttered. Taiga began poking Naruto with one of his crutches. Huh, you're not happy to see me? Am I being a nuisance? Should I go home now? For every question, he poked Naruto, harder and harder. Or maybe you just wanted to tell more embarrassing stories about me. What about writing a book about me, huh? Tai-chan, Naruto whined, begging him to stop. Stop poking me. Oh, you want me to stop poking you now? He questioned. That's funny, I wanted to keep going, because it's so freaking hilarious to see your face like that. Or hey, let's tell stories about your stupid face, stupid boy. You little bastard. The kids around them laughed. We've heard the story before, Tai-chan, and said. It's nothing new. An angry expression formed on his face. So now I'm nothing new, huh? Have you overused the story, Naru-pion, huh? You bastard, you always overuse stories. How I hate that smile on your face. I know you're about to laugh. Stop laughing, Naru-pion. Why are you laughing? It's just, Naruto said between his laughter, it's just, the crutches are poking my ribs, which feels funny. He then stopped poking them. Well, are you going with them to Konoha, or not? I blinked. What? Tai-chan, Kakashi sang, over here for a moment. Sakura, Sasuke, you too. And so the four of them moved away from Naruto once again, and formed a circle while having their hands on their thighs, except for Taiga, who was standing with his crutches. The plan wasn't working, Kakashi said, with a sigh. What? Taiga questioned. What kind of ninjas are you if you can't even persuade a normal village boy to go with you? We tried everything we could, but we're ninjas, Sasuke began, not child molesters. You try persuading him, he's as stubborn as a brick wall. I've already suggested using my feminine charm, but someone was rude about it, Sakura grumbled. Though, he is stubborn. Alright, Team Kakashi plus Tai-chan, Kakashi exclaimed, let's start plan B. I can hear you, Naruto yelled, annoyed. Target knows the plan, Taiga said, retreat. And off they ran, well, as fast as Taiga could. Naruto sighed. What do they want from me, seriously? He thought, with a second sigh leaving his mouth. I'm not going to Konoha. Why would Tai-chan even help them with that plan? Naruto-kun, a voice behind him said, and Naruto screamed in shock. Stop screaming like a girl, you should be able to sense me. It was Kakashi. How did you get there? Naruto questioned. Why, you were in the opposite direction a second ago. I'm a ninja, he said, bluntly. What if you just traveled with us to Konoha for a while? No, he said, sternly. You could take Tai-chan with you, if you feel safest like that. No, he repeated. We have lots of gorgeous females in Konoha, he tried. Like the little Hyuga heir, she's your age. I heard she's a beauty. I don't want to, he said. You could make tons of friends. I have enough friends here. Tai-chan wants to go. Then he goes alone. Go with him. I refuse. You were so polite just a moment ago. Naruto gasped. I'm sorry, he said, with regret as he bowed. With no disrespect, but I would like to humbly reject your offer, I'm sorry. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. I don't think I could get over it, he said with a hand on his chest. I'll forgive you if you go with us to Konoha. Naruto was cornered. But Tai-chan is still in a cast. He can't go with us. You think I'm a ninja for nothing? He questioned. I'll carry him, if it takes you to the village. He sighed, heavily. Fine, I'll go with you, he said in defeat. But don't you have mission to go on? You know how it's summer right now? Kakashi questioned and Naruto nodded. Well, we got a good laugh at who the culprit was. Who? A magpie, he laughed. Apparently, there are lots of magpies around the palace, and so they had gotten through security and stole lots of gold. You know how they love shiny objects, it also helped that the gold are in tiny coins. A magpie? Naruto questioned and Kakashi nodded. A magpie? He began laughing. Whoa, this village wasted money on ninjas for a couple of magpies? It would have been awesome if they were being controlled by someone to steal the gold instead, then we would have needed ninjas, but a magpie? I could have told them that. So, we'll be leaving first thing in the morning, Kakashi said with an eye smile. Naruto froze. Morning? You leave that early? He questioned. Kakashi nodded. Yep, he answered and waved behind him. He said yes, they're coming with us. Alright, Tai-chan's loud voice yelled. Naruto-san's gonna be a ninja. I can't wait to see that. What? Naruto asked confused. How would Naruto-kun look with a headband? Sakura wondered. Sasuke-kun, could you show us? Sure, he agreed and formed his hands into a sign while saying, transform. What? Naruto yelled as he saw himself, with the clothes he was wearing at the moment, but with a headband on his forehead. What are you doing? Does it look good? Sasuke asked with Naruto's voice. Whoa, it would really suit you, Naruto-kun. Sakura said. Whoa, Naruto-san as a ninja looks cool. Taiga praised. But, the clothes. You need to chance your clothes. You have no fashion sense, Naruto-san. I'm poor, I can't afford it. Naruto said, annoyed. Change back, Sasuke-kun. Sasuke locked eyes with Naruto and in a heartbeat, the two of them were having a staring contest. Fine, Sasuke said as he gave up the staring match and changed back. Taiga still had a grin plastered on his face. We're going to have so much fun in Konoha. I've heard they have babes over there. That's how they tricked him, Naruto realized. That's dirty, Kakashi-san. Dirty might not be my middle name, but it is written in my heart, he said. He was easier than you should be proud. Why would I be proud of that? Naruto sighed, as Nakamaru Kota and Yuki waved the group off. I'll probably survive, Naruto thought, but deep inside his mind, he disagreed with himself. I'll get killed, I just know it. Naruto-san, Taiga called out, to the Naruto, who was holding their baggage, if you don't hurry up, we'll leave you behind. That's what I'm wishing, he thought as he sighed, once again. Taiga was walking with his crutches, so he wasn't able to carry any of the baggage himself. The ninjas had to take care of their own baggage, but they did offer to help Naruto with some of it, but he refused, believing there would be a catch to it. Like they'll have me join Konoha and work as a ninja. You'll love Konoha, Naruto-kun, Sakura said. Don't worry too much. Ninjas have a good sense of direction, right? Taiga asked, and the three ninjas nodded in unison. Then, why are we headed north instead of south? They stopped in their track as they looked at Taiga. I thought this was south, Sasuke muttered. Weren't your sense of direction useless? Taiga's face formed into an angry scowl. That was a year ago, a year. I know the difference from south and north now. This is east, Naruto muttered. Kakashi looked at Naruto. Didn't take him that long to figure out, his sense is good, he thought. Oh my, we had to take that left a while back. Are they really ninjas? Naruto wondered. Wearing a pair of dark blue shorts that covered his knees and an open gray hoodie with a white shirt decorated with an orange spiral printed on the front. He sighed as he adjusted the bag's weight on his shoulders. So Naruto, what do you want to do first in Konoha? Taiga asked, excited. According to Naruto, Taiga got easily excited when they were going to an unknown place. In the village, if a new store opened, Taiga would be the first to jump on his leg and head to the store. I want to meet the Hokage. How awesome would that be, huh? Telling everyone in the village that we met one of the most powerful ninjas in the world. Like, he's in the top 5. Naruto laughed at his excited friend. That would actually be a good story to tell the kids in the academy, he said. At the same time, we might form a great friendship with Konoha, that way the safety of our village will be secured. Sasuke looked back at the two boys, who were walking behind him and his team. Who would want to attack such a small village? He asked, not meaning to insult the village, but out of curiosity. The two boys turned their heads to him, as Sasuke slowed down to walk with the two at Taiga's pace. Oh, we've had plenty of attacks since I was born, Taiga said. Like the time, one of the stores in the village detonated and 2 villagers lost their lives in the explosion. That was 4 years ago. When Naruto came to the village, 7 years ago, some people from a small ninja village came and stole some of the village's precious items from the past. Naruto nodded at everything Taiga said. It's true, they never got caught, so he never got it back, he said. If we had ninjas in the village at that time, maybe they wouldn't have gotten away. Sasuke hummed, that's true. A ninja would never let them get away. We would have chased them to their death, Kakashi said, in front of them. Sasuke, here, hates to lose the most, right Sasuke-kun? Sasuke scowled at him, and then looked back at Taiga. Are you okay with your foot? He asked. Ah, Sasuke-kun is being considerate, Kakashi beamed. How adorable. He ignored him, looking at Taiga for an answer, which just nodded and showed him his invisible muscles. These babies can carry the world. Then you must be bigger, because your hands are all red, Naruto said, worried. We should rest for your sake. Taiga glared at him. You just want a chance to escape, he yelled. I couldn't even if I wanted. Naruto yelled back. They said they'd hunt a runaway to death. How could I get away? Taiga smirked. Really? He questioned, amused. Ah, Kakashi-san, could you carry me? My hands are killing me. I thought you were okay just a moment ago, Kakashi expected. Didn't you just say that your babies could carry the world? Literally babies, Naruto muttered, but Taiga's glare shut him up. I said that because I thought this stupid idiot would run away. Taiga said, whining just a little. Now carry me, my slave. Slave? Kakashi thought, as he sighed and threw his baggage at Sasuke, who caught it easily. Hop on, Tai-chan, I'll show you who's a good slave. Taiga smiled, widely and just on board on Kakashi's back. Go, Kakashi-san. A glint appeared in Kakashi's one eye. As you wish, my master. Ah, Naruto muttered, as Kakashi ran off with Taiga at the speed of light. Tai-chan? Sakura sighed. Kakashi-sensei hates being insulted, she explained. Tai-chan was screwed when he said slave. Naruto blinked a few times, confused, but they kept on walking. This time in the right direction. Sakura looked at him. Do you know how you came to the corn village? Naruto looked at her, with a smile as he shook his head. No. I have no idea, he said. The doctor of the village said that I had amnesia. I don't remember anything from my past except my name. And I think I had a flashback, 2 days ago about a guy with the same red eyes as Sasuke-kun. He said I had to forget about some village I don't remember the name of. Sasuke looked back at him. The same eyes as me? He questioned. There were 2 guys, Naruto muttered. It seems like they helped, or something. When your eyes changed colors, I suddenly remembered one of them having those eyes, as he touched my forehead and told me to forget everything. One of them was called something with an S. Shisui? Sasuke questioned and Naruto brightened. Yeah, he exclaimed. That's the one. He's dead, he said, bluntly. He died 5 years ago. Naruto's eyes widened. Huh? How did that happen? They say he killed himself. At the gate of Konoha, Kakashi and Taiga had already arrived. I wonder what's taking them so long, Kakashi said to the now pale Taiga. Taiga glared up at him. I don't know, maybe we left them on the other side of the world, he yelled at him. Naruto has my crutches. I don't want the piggyback ride anymore. Then we'll wait here, Kakashi said with an eye smile. It's not my fault they're so slow. Kurenai-chan, a female, with shoulder-length black hair and red eyes looked at him as she paled. Kakashi, she muttered, unhappy. What are you doing back already? The way you said that is really insulting, did you know? He questioned, but without receiving an answer. This is Nakamura Taiga, a villager from the village we just visited. You can call him Tai-chan. From the corn village, Kurenai said whilst smiling at the poor boy, who was seated on the ground. Kakashi, why is a little pale boy with a broken leg, sitting on the ground like that? Did you do something that you should be punished for? Kakashi shook his head. No. He wanted to arrive to the village faster, so he left my 2 students and his friend behind a little while back, he said. Anyways, how is your team doing? You brought another one with you? She questioned. Are you trying to find potential candidates for your little 2-person team? Or do you just want them to join the Chunin exam? That's cruel, Kakashi. Is this one of the babes Kakashi-san told me about? Taiga wondered as he looked up at her. She must be. Kakashi hummed as he looked at Konoha's exit. They should have been here by now. You think they ran into trouble? Taiga asked. No, he laughed. If they did, Sasuke and Sakura would have taken care of little Naruto. They wouldn't even let a hair fall from his head. I'm not worried about Naruto, he said, bluntly. I'm worried about my stuff. If it gets stolen, I'll have that idiot's ass. Kurenai looked at the rude boy, and then back at Kakashi. Kakashi, what's your real reason of taking the 2 to the village? When are we there? Naruto asked, edgily. I never took you as the impatient type, Naruto-kun, Sakura said with a laugh. Are you still nervous? What if I suddenly lose my stuff? He questioned. No, better yet, what if I lose Tai-chan's stuff? He'll have my ass for it. I'm sure he isn't that bad, she said, shrugging. You really don't know him, Sakura-san, Naruto thought. He doesn't care if I get hurt. Hell, he'll laugh at me if I get hurt. Oh, you're misunderstanding him, Naruto-kun, she said, laughing at the worried Naruto. Maybe, Sasuke joined in, but Taiga sounds like a sadist from what we've been told. Like the story from when they traveled together for the first time. He threatened with cutting him. I wouldn't be surprised if he killed him because of this. How reassuring, Naruto muttered. But I'm friends with a couple of ninjas now. You could protect me, right? Sakura chuckled. Of course we'll protect you, she reassured him. We don't let our friends get harmed, even if the cause is another friend. Naruto smiled, but it faltered when he heard his stomach rumble. He felt embarrassed, but luckily none of the 2 heard him. Why is my stomach rumbling? He wondered. I'm not even that hungry. He sighed as he put a hand on his stomach and patted it. Maybe I am hungry, but I just don't know it yet. That could happen. Soon enough I'll feel hungry. Kakashi smirked under the mask and he moved closer to her, to whisper in her ear. I might have found the forgotten boy. Naruto, Taiga called out, to the approaching team. What took you guys so long? I've been waiting for my stuff and my crutches. I meet Kurenai-san. She's a nice person, you should meet her too, Naruto. Naruto smiled at him. I'll eventually meet her, but right now I'm pretty tired, he replied. Also, I'm hungry. My stomach kept on roaring, on our way here. I'm surprised neither of you heard it. Sakura laughed, shortly. Well then, let's go to the Hokage Tower and make a report on our mission. Then we can go eat, she said. Taiga's face lit up. He breathed, sounding excited. We get to meet the Hokage? Maybe if he's there, Sasuke replied, as he gave him the crutches Naruto was carrying. Where's sensei? Taiga shrugged. He said he was going to take a look at the road of life. Whatever the hell that is, he answered. The two ninjas sighed in unison, and Sakura even smacked her forehead. That guy, she muttered. He intends to let us report whilst he relaxes. What did you expect? Sasuke asked. I'm used to it already, so let's go and report in. Now that I think about it, Team 8 should also be in today, so maybe we'll see them, too. In that case, Sakura started, maybe Tai-chan and Naruto-kun could stay at one of their residents. She then turned to Taiga and Naruto to explain their current discussion. Team 8 is a team that only consists of well-known clans. Hinata's clan, the Hyugas, is the most powerful clan in Konoha, so I wouldn't be surprised if their place was big enough to have 2 visitors. Kiba and Shino come from smaller clans than her, but with their dogs and bugs, you would probably be bothered. What about your places? Taiga questioned. I live in a small apartment with my parents, Sakura answered. Sasuke-kun lives alone in an even smaller apartment, but he used to have a big place. You would be better off staying at the Hyugas, that's for sure, Sasuke said. If they would allow it, they're a strict clan. Naruto helped Taiga stand and turned to the ninjas. Well, I'm sure we can figure something out after we visit the Hokage. I'm sure Tai-chan is dying for it, right now. Yeah, Taiga exclaimed. Let's go, hurry up. And off he went, as fast as he could with those crutches. Naruto kept on thinking about something. He had heard that name before, hadn't he? Not just the name Hyuga, no, the name Hinata, too. All of these places were familiar to him. The gate, the buildings, the mountain, everything. But from where? Where had he seen all of these things before? This was his first visit to Konoha, the village hidden in the leaves. The 4 of them now stood in front of the office of the Fire Shadow, the Hokage. Sasuke knocked on the door, not once, but twice, and waited for an answer beyond the entrance. And an answer they got. They opened the door, revealing the Hokage and Sakura and Sasuke's teacher from the Ninja Academy. The 4 kids bowed at the sight with respect. Sorry, I can't that far with these crutches and this leg, Taiga apologized, fast and with a nervous voice. The Hokage chuckled. Don't worry about it, he said to the nervous little boy. I see you 2 brought back some friends from that village, Sakura? Sasuke? They stood up straight. We did, Sasuke replied. The boy with the crutches is Nakamaru Taiga, the son of the man who let us stay with them, and the blonde is Uzumaki Naruto. He trailed off to look at the Hokage's expression, but he had nothing but a straight expression on. Naruto, Taiga, could you please step out please? The 2 and Sakura looked at him, confused. Why? Sakura asked. We have to talk to the Hokage in private, Sasuke answered and looked at Taiga and Naruto, who nodded and walked out of the office and closed the door behind them. He looked back at the Hokage with an even more serious expression than before. We have reasons to believe that Naruto once lived here, am I right, Hokage-sama? Sarutobi Hiruzen, the 3rd Hokage of Konoha, smiled at him. That's right, Sasuke, he replied. I just don't know here he has been all this time. So, he was hiding in the corn village. I should have known that he would be in a small village like that. Was it Kakashi that recognized him? Sasuke shook his head. No. He had seen my eyes before, he said. Not exactly mine, but one similar to mine. He had seen the eyes of Shisui. It was Shisui that took him from the village, huh? Hiruzen wondered and looked up at the sky from his windows. Then, Sasuke, do you feel obligated to protect him? Sasuke blinked, confused. What? Do you feel obligated to protect Naruto-kun? He asked, again. Now that you know that it was an Uchiha that took him to another village, you must wonder why he did it and why Naruto-kun was that special, but not special enough for us to send a search team. Do you feel obligated to protect the one who was special enough for Shisui-kun to protect him? Taiga said that Naruto was beaten when they found him 7 years ago, Sakura said, joining in on the conversation. Amino Uruka was still there, but he wasn't forgotten. He also remembered the face of the forgotten boy, but decided to keep quiet and just listen to the discussion his 2 students and the leader of the village was holding. The Hokage's smile turned into a frown. I see, he said. Then it's no wonder Shisui-kun would go that far to protect him. Do you also wonder, Sakura? She looked down with a grimace. I don't really want to know, no. If he was beaten but still protected, then he must have a secret that could make us hate him, and I don't want to hate such a good person, she said, honestly. Hiruzen looked at Sasuke. What about you? He shook his head. No. I don't want to know, but I do feel obligated to protect him. Once again, the frown turned into a smile. That's a good answer from both of you, he said. Now, do you know of a place they could stay, or should I arrange something? We'll find it ourselves, Sakura said with a smile gracing her face. So, that was all we have. Now if you'll excuse us, Hokage-sama, we have to go and feed the two. You're excused. Down the hall of the Hokage Tower, Team 8 walking without their sensei, Kurenai. Just the three of them, Aburame Shino, Inuzuka Kiba and Hyuga Hinata. Kiba was grinning as if there was no tomorrow, Shino was walking with no expression, whilst little Hinata was looked down on the ground. I think we did great, today. Kiba said, still grinning. Our first C rank, and it went smoothly. Team 7 is also on a C rank mission, right now, Shino said. We shouldn't be proud of catching some bandits in the woods. Why? Because they're going to catch someone who stole gold from the corn village. We really shouldn't be that proud. Hinata smiled. We should be proud, Shino-kun, she said. Our first C rank mission is going to be a good memory in the future, just like our first D rank is going to be. You're right about that, Hinata, he agreed. Why? Because someday one of us is going to die, and then we'll remember back to this day and smile at all the memories we have of each other. You're too gloomy, Shino. Kiba said, annoyed and with the grin faltering. Ah, who's that? As they were nearing the Hokage's office, they saw two boys outside. Two that they have never seen before, and just when they were about to ask, the door opened and out came Sakura and Sasuke, the two of Team 7. Ah, Team 8, Sakura said as she locked eyes with the Hyuga. How are you guys? Were your mission tough? Kiba grinned again as he shook his head. No. Our mission was too easy, it felt like a D rank, he said. But how come you're here now? Didn't you leave yesterday for your mission? Sasuke smirked. Our mission felt like an E rank, he answered. It turned out that it was a bird that stole the gold. Ah, that reminds me, do any of you have a place where these two can stay? Team 8 turned to the two from the corn village. Who are they? Kiba asked, rudely. I'm Nakamaru Taiga, Taiga said. This is Uzumaki Naruto. We're from the corn village. Kiba smiled at Taiga's name. I'm Inuzuka Kiba. This is my dog Akamaru, he said, laughing at the similarities. He then turned his head to Hinata. This is Hyuga Hinata, and the other one is Aburame Shino. I don't think you can stay at my place, since our dogs wake up early and that would bother you. Hinata swallowed the lump in her throat, and opened her mouth to talk. You can probably stay at my place, she said, quietly. We often have guests, but in the moment it's empty. I'm sure we have a room or two you can use. Naruto looked at her. She looked familiar. He then smiled, forgetting his thoughts completely. Thank you, I hope we won't be a bother, he said. The two of Team 7 sighed. Then we've taken care of that, Sakura said. I'm pretty sure. Kakashi-sensei wants to train you Naruto-kun, so let's. Train? Naruto questioned and snapped his head in her direction. I knew they wanted something. Yeah, she said slowly, thinking of her next words. You know, in the future you want to own a store of your own, so. Nah, he wants to train you. Why does he want to train me? Sasuke chuckled. Did you honestly think you would leave this village again? Because you can leave anytime. Kakashi-sensei is just looking for potential candidates for our team, since we only have 2 rookies, and we can't take the Chunin exam if we don't have 3. Naruto blinked, confused. I refuse, he said simply and looked at Taiga. We're leaving tomorrow, early, so see what you want to see here, now. Taiga glared at him. Huh, you honestly think that I came here not knowing that they would do that? He questioned. I'm not letting you leave until you accept, besides. He trailed off, looking at the floor. Don't you want to know where you're from? I'm fine with where I am now. Naruto yelled. I'm not going to leave the corn village. Kiba stepped over to him. Naruto, right? Calm down, you might not even be potential enough to join Team 7. Naruto-kun, Hinata said, you shouldn't yell at Taiga-kun because of that. I'm sure he has his reasons for wanting this. At that moment, Naruto locked eyes with Hinata. I'm sorry, a small petite girl cried out. I'm so sorry. Sorry won't cut it, a boy said, as he put his foot on her back, whilst she was down on all 4. You Hyugas think you're so good, just because you're from a noble family. The two other boys around the girl agreed. We should make her do something. Like humiliating herself. Or we could let her buy us ice cream, that way she has paid for her sins. We could always beat her up, the first boy said. If we take her down, we can brag about how we took down a Hyuga. Oi! An unfamiliar voice called out, from behind them. And there he stood. A blond boy with crystal blue eyes. You should feel ashamed, doing things like that to a girl. How low can you be? That's the boy my mom warned me about, one of the boys said. He's supposed to be really dangerous, or something. HMPF, the first one grumbled. Let's just go, we got our apology. Oi, he called out. Don't just walk away. What makes you say that she should apologize and not you? Shut up, stupid orphan, and with that, the boys ran off. The blond boy walked towards the girl and helped her stand. Are you alright? He asked. She nodded, but still not smiling. He could see the visible tears in her eyes. She had been crying because of those boys bullying her. Who are you? She asked. He smiled. Uzumaki Naruto. Ah, Hyuga. Hinata-sama. Another voice called out, before her hand was taken in by a grown-up Hyuga. Hinata-sama, I've been looking for you. Let's go, now, come on, we don't want your father to wait for us. Hinata looked back at Naruto, with a sad smile on her face, thinking that he would be frowning at the sight, but he didn't. Instead he was still smiling and waved at her. Bye-bye, he said, before leaving the place without ever looking back. Naruto released a breath he didn't even know that he was holding, whilst his eyes widened. His lips were quivering, and he was scared for some reason. What was that? Why did he suddenly see that? He couldn't take it anymore. He took a step back, and then another. Before knowing what was going on, he ran screaming in shock. Oh oi! Taiga called out. Naru Pion. Seriously, what's with that guy? He then proceeded to walk after him, as fast as he could with a heavy leg and stupid crutches. Naru Pion. Later that day, Naruto calmed down and met up with Taiga again. They walked to the Hyuga residence where they met Hinata's father, Hyuga Hiyashi, and her little sister, Hanabi. They got something to eat, they took a shower, and then they fell asleep. The next day, Taiga still persuades him to become a ninja, but Naruto kept on refusing. If he was going to become a ninja, then he had to leave his precious village, and that's something he certainly didn't want to, not even for all the money in the world. Though, Taiga didn't want to give up, not that easily. He wanted to see his best friend wearing a ninja headband. If Naruto wasn't curious as to where he was from, then Taiga was. He wanted to know where Naruto was from and why he came to their village. Yet, Naruto doesn't want to cooperate, that idiot. They even watched the Hyuga's morning practice. Naruto thought it was amazing, how such a soft form for martial arts could actually be so deadly. He didn't comment on anything, he just sat with Taiga admiring the view of the gentle fist. However, another place in Konoha, the Hokage Tower to be precise, stood one Hitaki Kakashi and the third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen. These two respected ninjas were discussing something very important that they thought they would never talk about again. Exactly. They were talking about little Naruto, Uzumaki Naruto. It's pretty typical that you were the one to find him, Kakashi, the third said. But I'm grateful. I've always wondered what he grew up to be. He looks like his mother, don't you think so too, Kakashi? Kakashi gave him an eye smile. Yeah, he does, he answered with a soft tone. I can't believe that I actually found him there of all places. I heard it was Shisui that brought him there, but do you really think that we would do something like that alone? Hiruzen shook his head. No. I have a suspicion that there might have been two people, he said. Otherwise, how would Naruto remember his name if someone didn't tell him? If he was beat up, I doubt that Shisui-kun would just introduce himself like that, but if someone was speaking to him. Uchiha Itachi, right? Kakashi questioned. Why did you think of that name so suddenly? Itachi and Shisui were best friends, they were like brothers, he answered. If this has been a secret for this long, then Shisui must have been with someone who he trusted. The only one that comes to mind is Itachi. Wouldn't you agree? He nodded. Yes. I had the same suspicion, Kakashi. But we'll never know for sure. And I guess we couldn't just ask Itachi out of nowhere, Kakashi said, sighing. However, when I get Naruto to agree on me training him, we might be able to retrieve his memories. Hiruzen chuckled. I heard him screaming yesterday, he told him, I'm pretty sure we can find other ways to recover his memories. Kakashi stared dead at him. I'm not giving him to Ibiki, that's just torture. I want his memories to come back themselves, or maybe it is best if they were kept behind. There will come a time where he will have the urge to know where he is from, the third said. His body and mind will tell him that there is an empty spot in his heart, but his heart keeps telling him that it's fine. That he doesn't need to know when he's already happy where he is. But when his mind reaches his heart, then he'll feel it. That's when his memory will recover. So you think it's a jutsu that put him in that position? He nodded. Of course I do, he said. I think it's a genjutsu that did it. One that made him forget his past, and knowing Shisui, he would even put his own family in a genjutsu to protect something. The only thing that can release it is Shisui-kun or Naruto. Since Shisui-kun is dad, then it's only Naruto. He had a desire to become a ninja when he was younger, right? From what I remember he wanted to be Hokage to be exact, he answered. But him wanting to become a ninja isn't what's going to trigger his memory, you know. How do you know that, Hokage-sama? Because there's more to Naruto than being a ninja. I've heard ninjas get the best girls, Taiga said with a smile, still trying to pursue Naruto. Hinata-san is from a noble family, so she'll only be able to get married to a ninja, right? Naruto sighed. I don't want to become a ninja, he said. I admit, ninjas are honorable people, but I don't fit in such an environment. Things like sacrificing oneself to protect another. I'm too much of a coward to do that. Taiga rose from his seat on the veranda of the Hyuga residence and walked towards the standing Uzumaki with no support on his broken leg, as he put his hand on Naruto's shoulder. You're right, you're a coward, well said. But you know what a coward wouldn't do? Save a cat. You saved that stupid, annoying pest of a cat, right? Well then, you're not a coward. Did you have to cuss the cat? Naruto asked, with a chuckle. I swear, Taiga exclaimed, if it hadn't been for that stupid cat, I would have been able to walk properly. You shouldn't imitate me. You shouldn't show off. I didn't show off, I tried to save a cat, you said it yourself. Showing off, saving a cat, what's the difference? I can't even put words on the difference. Is Naruto-kun and Tai-chan in? Sakura asked Hinata, at the Hyuga residence. Hinata nodded in reply. They're in the backyard. Should I go get them, or do you want to come with? I'll come with you, she said, as the two girls walked side by side. So, what are you going to do today? Hinata asked. Well, we're still trying to get Naruto-kun to agree on the ninja thing, Sakura answered. He's really stubborn, but I got a feeling that we're on the right track. A couple of mummers interrupted the two girls' conversation, and Hinata slid the door open. See, then there's no difference, right? Taiga yelled. It means there's only that many reasons why it's a difference. Naruto countered. Oh, what's the difference? Taiga said, shrugging. Naruto sighed in frustration and looked back at the door, where the two girls were standing, staring at them. When one side is up, another is down, he thought, time to put my other up again. And thus, he smiled at them. Hello, Sakura-san, Hinata-san. Come watch us practice, Naruto-kun. Sakura said with a smile of her own. I'm sure you would like it, it's really interesting for civilians. Taiga frowned. What about me? You too, Tai-chan, she said, laughing. Sensei, Sasuke. Sakura called out. I brought them over. Kakashi looked at her, and gave her thumbs up. Good job, Sakura, he said. Now, run 10 laps around the training grounds. You too, Naruto-kun. Naruto looked at them, stunned. They really do want me to train, but 10 laps is too much for someone like me, he thought, but gave up with a sigh, when Taiga smiled at him. Taiga smiling at me is a bad thing. I can only assume that he'll cut me up in my sleep. And so he ran with Sakura. The laps were tough and Naruto was about to fall over a few times, but he made it without a break. And as they finished the last lap, Kakashi gave him an eye smile. Good job, he said to the exhausted boy, who was panting for air. Now, do 100 sit-ups. He felt a vein popping on his forehead, and he turned to glare at the teacher. Why do I have to train with you? I didn't agree on becoming a ninja, and I won't ever agree to it. Naru-pion tilde. A voice called out, which turned to be Taiga with a sickly sweet tone. Did you know, if you're pierced through the heart, you die in an instant? Taiga was smiling. Not a smile that would look weird, it was actually a natural smile. But the whole facade was ruined by that little comment, which made Naruto as pale as a ghost. Hell, even a cloud was darker than him right now. 100 sit-ups? Naruto questioned, panting. Kakashi smiled and nodded. Then after that, I'll introduce you to your teachers. He looked up, confused. Teachers? We only have a month to train you before the Chunin exams. I don't want to. In the end, he wasn't introduced to the teacher that day, but Kakashi vowed that he would meet them soon. Yet, Naruto did train a lot that day. He also learned a lot of practical stuff about ninjas, like their life source, chakra, or the secrets behind being a good ninja. But remember? That was something he didn't want to do. He sighed heavily as Taiga and he were on their way to the Hyuga residence. Why do you want me to become a ninja? Naruto asked Taiga. Because we need you, he answered simply. Our village has been attacked one too many times. If you became a ninja we wouldn't have to rely on an outsider. Besides, you might not be curious about where you're from, but I have a feeling that we'll find out here in Konoha. I really want to know, Naruto. Naruto looked at the ground as they walked. I was curious too, he said. As to whom my parents are and where I was born. I wanted to know my identity. I'm not even sure if my real name is Uzumaki Naruto, I just kind of thought that when I was found. And now? I'm happy where I am, he replied. I'm happy in the corn village, where Nakamaru-san always treats me to watermelon and tea, and where Yoshida-sensei asks me to teach the students, because he's too stupid to know that many things at once, or where Ichikawa-san plays with the little kids, because she's always bored. The corn village is the best place on earth, and I don't ever want to move from there. Taiga smiled for real. Not his sadistic smile, no, but a real smile. I guess the corn village could use some help on the fun scale, but overall it's our home, we can't ever wish for it to be any other things. Do you remember the time where Ran-chan burped so loud a flock of birds flew away? Naruto laughed. I think that's because of you, when you climbed the tree last year, but ended up breaking the branch the birds were lying on. Then do you remember the time where Kiri-kun clogged the toilet? That was you after you ate those berries I told you not to eat. Then what about the time where Dad's booth broke, because of some kid kicking it lightly? You again, Naruto accused. Every stupid, funny moment in the village was caused by you. Taiga gasped, dramatically. How dare you? He yelled, mockingly. I'll cut you open. I don't know that's a joke, or not. Naruto thought, sweat dropping. You just can't handle the truth. I can handle the truth just well. You can't. Can too. Cannot. Arg, Naruto. Taiga whined, but regained himself as he glared at the poor boy. If you don't shut up about that, I'll not just cut you open, but I'll sell your organs on the black market, cut you in pieces and bury your body parts separately and where no one can find them. I don't know you're joking, or not. The boys went silent, until they both broke out in grins, and thus the two boys smiled stupidly all the way to the Hyuga residence, where Hinata and someone else were waiting for their arrival. But why? Naruto. Taiga yelled, unable to control the tears that ran down his cheeks. Nah, Naruto, become a ninja. Become a ninja and protect our village. We need a ninja in our village to protect us, we need someone. We can't defend ourselves no matter what. Naruto was also having trouble controlling his emotions, and he wanted to say something back to Taiga, but it didn't happen. Not when he could hear just how much his voice broke, cracked and split between sobs and growls. Never in his entire life had he seen such an emotional Taiga. Not for me, not for you, he continued, but for Yuki. Rewinding a little, hey, should we buy something for the Hyugas? Taiga asked when they passed the shopping district. Naruto thought for a bit. Sure, but we don't have a lot of money, so it'll have to be something small, he said. Like flowers? He questioned. There's a shop there, Yamanaka it's called. Naruto looked to his right and smiled. Sure, and off they went. Inside the shop, the two boys were greeted by the smell of fresh flowers and tea. At the checkout stood a pale blonde cashier with pale blue eyes, and Taiga smiled at her, friendly. Just as Kakashi-san said, Taiga thought, still smiling and creeping Naruto out, Konoha girls are really hot. Welcome, the girl said with a smile. They must be tourists, I've never seen them before. Ah, Tai-chan, what about these? Naruto suggested as he looked closer to the name of the flower, Dahlia. They would suit the Hyuga family, wouldn't they? What does that have to do with the sun? Taiga questioned. Hyuga means towards the sun, that's a freaking purple flower. But their eyes looks more lavender than white, so, he silenced himself as he sighed. Then, should we find some sunflowers? Sunflowers, really? Taiga said, sighing. That's the plainest flower in the world. We need something that says the Hyuga family is the best. The cashier decided to give a suggestion. What about the iris? She asked and the two boys turned to her. The iris has many meanings. Therefore it's very common to give it as a present to a friend or a family member. In your case, I think the Hyugas are your friends, or you want to express your gratitude for something, so the iris is perfect. The two thought for a moment, before they turned their heads to the irises. Yeah, they were beautiful and it would really be a good gift for them. We'll take a dozen, Taiga said. How many is that? Naruto questioned. Just a bouquet, he answered. Ono-san says it all the time back in the corn village. The girl went to pick up a bunch of fresh irises and wrap them up. She tapped on some of the taste's keys on the cash register. She looked a little at it, and then turned to them and smiled. That'll be 3,000 yen, she said, still smiling. Their faces darkened. 3,000, Naruto muttered. How many 100 yen is that? 1, 2, Taiga counted, sticking a finger out for every count. Enough to make us poor, was his final answer. We'll do it, Tai-chan. Naruto exclaimed. We can do it. This is for the Hyuga clan to receive our gratitude. Taiga looked just as determined, suddenly. 3,000 yen, huh? He said, with a bored tone. Make it 4,000, number 5,000. Don't raise the price. After a long discussion between the two corn villagers, they finally decided to make it 3,000 yen. Naruto kept on telling him that when you buy things, you don't raise the price. It was quiet, and around evening time. Naru-pion, Taiga called in a whiny tone, my hands hurt, these crutches are killing me, and my foot feels like it weighs a ton. Carry me, Naruto sighed. I'm already carrying the flowers, he retorted. And besides, I'm already tired after the training today. How are you going to become a ninja if you don't have any stamina? Taiga asked. I'm sure they held back for you. Held back? You have got to be kidding me, Naruto thought, bitterly. I don't want to be a ninja. Naruto-kun, a voice called out in front of them, Taiga-kun. Ah, Hinata-san, Taiga said, cheerfully. Yay, I was beginning to miss her. Hinata looked worried at them, and beside her stood a woman with almost purple hair and a serious expression on her face. This is Mitarashi Anko-sensei. She told me to take you two to the Hokage's office, Hinata said, with the same expression. Taiga blinked, confused. Did we do something? He asked. Anko stepped forward. The request from Hokage-sama said that I had to find you two at the Hyuga residence and take you to the Hokage tower, she said. It's urgent. What could be so urgent that we had to hear it? Naruto thought. Why does Hinata-san look so sad? The door to the Hokage's office knocked, and the Hokage told them politely to come in. In came the two corn villagers and the two female ninjas. He frowned at the corn villagers' worried faces. Did Anko or Hinata already tell them something? No, they wouldn't. Naruto-kun, Taiga-kun, Hiruzen said, with a sad smile on his face. Please remain calm until I finish what I have to say. What happened? Naruto said, interrupting the Hokage. Sending two ninjas to get us to the Hokage tower. Something must have happened, but what? Naruto-kun, Anko said, in a warning tone. Don't interrupt Hokage-sama. Naruto felt startled at her loud voice, but was comforted when he felt someone tug the hem of his shirt. Taiga was trying to calm him down, and he appreciated it. Though his best friend could be a sadist, he's really just a tsundere, who can't express his feelings that well. But Taiga didn't let go of his shirt. Maybe he was also trying to calm himself down. It's okay, Anko, he said. Now, remain calm, this is important. An hour ago, we received a message from the corn village. They've been under attack, yet again. What? The two boys yelled in unison, whilst Taiga tightened his grip on Naruto's shirt. No one died, but several were injured, Anko said, interrupting the two boys' outburst. Two teachers at your academy are still in danger, and a student is in a coma, which they don't know if he'll survive or not. The third Hokage nodded. Only the best medics can save that boy now, he said, sighing. Naruto gulped, nervously. Who is that boy? He asked, whilst his heart was about to jump out of his chest. Sure, their village has been attacked before, but they were close to every villager. And the teachers, which class were they teaching? The attack started with your academy, the Hokage answered. The two teachers, Yoshida-kun and Ryuichi-kun, are the two who are still in danger. Yuki's class. Taiga thought as once. Which student? Nakamaru Yuki. Are you alright, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked, as they both stood in the backyard of the Hyuga compound, only with the night breeze and the grasshoppers to meet their ears other than their talking. Taiga-kun is still crying, but you haven't showed any emotion since you heard it. He didn't answer, he just gulped and kept a straight face. No matter what, he didn't want to cry. He wanted to show his support to Taiga, but every time he looked him in the face. If only we had been home, he thought. If only you didn't leave the corn village, right? She questioned, as if reading his thoughts. Face it, Naruto-kun, even if you were there, the results would have been the same. The two teachers are still in danger. The possibility that they're dying is high, and Taiga-kun's little brother is in a deep coma. You're just a normal person, only a ninja could have taken them on. All gentleness had faded from her voice, which only left the roughness of the truth. Naruto knew that she was right, that they couldn't have done anything, but they could still hope, right? So you're basically saying that my village is weak? Hinata nodded without hesitation. Taiga-kun is crying his heart out, because of the little brother that cannot be saved, but you're trying to be strong, yet you're slowly crumbling together. Your village is weak, yes, and that's the truth that you've realized, too. Then what can I do about, huh? He asked, loudly. Almost like a cry for help. My village is weak, the villagers are helpless against villagers and I can't do anything? Nothing at all? Nothing at all, she confirmed, and looked back when the sound of the door to the backyard opened and revealed Taiga. Nothing at all, huh? Taiga questioned. We can't do anything because we're weak. Did you hear that, Naruto-pion? Tai-chan, Naruto said and walked towards him. Where are your crutches? Taiga shrugged. That doesn't matter, he said, unable to control his emotions. She just said that we can't do anything, Nari-pion, and she's right. That's what I hate about our village. Sure, it's lovely, but we can't do anything by ourselves. We constantly rely on ninjas to help us in bad times, yet it's also ninjas who causes us bad times. Tai-chan. In good times and bad times, our village stands by each other, but we're unable to defend, he said, with his voice cracking a few times. In the future, we'll also rely on ninjas to protect us. We'll rely on outsiders. But, Hinata just watched the dramatic scene that was being born in front of her and decided to be quiet. This was their village's affair and she shouldn't meddle further into it. Naru-pion, Taiga yelled, unable to control the tears that ran down his cheeks. Nah, Naru-pion, become a ninja. Become a ninja and protect our village. We need a ninja in our village to protect us, we need someone. We can't defend ourselves no matter what. Naruto was also having trouble controlling his emotions, and he wanted to say something back to Taiga, but it didn't happen. Not when he could hear just how much his voice broke, cracked and split between sobs and growls. Never in his entire life had he seen such an emotional Taiga. Not for me, not for you, he continued, but for Yuki. Memories that he had never seen before kept coming to him ever since the three ninjas came to their village. Memories that he wanted to know where came from. Yet, he was still attached to the village that brought him up, the village that raised him as if he was their own flesh and blood. When they found him, he was beaten up, and he wondered why. Yu-chan, Yoshida-sensei, Ryuichi-sensei, he muttered, clenching his hands into fists. I'll become a ninja. In the Hokage office the next day stood three men. The Hokage, for one, Kakashi for two and the academy teacher, Iruka for three. Those three were discussing the Corn Village's situation. Should we send some aid? Iruka asked. We could at least help them rebuild. We'll have to discuss the enemy first, Kakashi interrupted. We have heard from some of the Corn villagers saw some of the ninjas. They had a note on their forehead protector, so I'm assuming that they're from the new established village, hidden in the sound. Otogakure, huh? The third muttered. Alright. Iruka, tell Anko to get a team ready and help the Corn village with rebuilding the damages made, for tomorrow. Kakashi, I guess you have to introduce Naruto-kun to his new teachers, right? Iruka excused himself and left the room, whilst Kakashi raised an eyebrow at the Hokage's comment and chuckled. I guess he has been convinced, but shouldn't I let him rest for a while? The news about Yuki-kun must be devastating for both him and Taiga, he said. You still have a month, Kakashi, Hiruzen reminded him. I think you should introduce them to him as soon as possible. I'll let Anko's team be an escort as well for Taiga-kun. You can go and get them now. Shall do, Hokage-sama? I'll become a medical ninja. Naruto exclaimed. That way, I can protect the village and heal them. He grinned at the idea. Then, I'll become the best medical ninja, and heal Yu-chan. Oi, he's getting carried away, Taiga called out, sighing. Naruto, this is serious. First of all, you need to train hard. You need to sacrifice your weak body to gain a strong one. Hinata-san, what does it mean to be a ninja? Hinata blinked in surprise. Being a ninja means to endure. She said, any pain you feel, any limit you have, you'll have to endure it. But becoming a ninja in a month is going to be tough. I can only imagine what kind of teachers Kakashi-sensei will hire to train you. Hinata-ne-chan, a voice sounded, and in came Hanabi, Hinata's younger sister, with a tray of tea. I brought you some tea. Thank you, Hanabi, Hinata said, kindly. Taiga looked at the two, as Hanabi sat down beside her older sister. The two sisters seemed very close, he thought. You don't look alike, he muttered, and they looked at him in wonder. I'll go back home to support my little brother. I want him to wake up. He'll wake up, Naruto said, firmly. It's Yu-chan, of course he'll wake up. I look like our father, Hanabi said. Hinata-ne-chan looks like our mother, who passed away after my birth. I'm guessing you and your younger brother look alike, since you said we don't. I've heard that only the best doctor could save him now. Why don't you try finding Tsunade-sama, the slug sage? Hinata said in a warning tone. Well, she's the best and she's a Konoha citizen, Hanabi continues, ignoring the warning. But I guess you'll never find her. Where? Naruto asked, loudly, startling the two sisters and his best friend. Where can I find her? Taiga glared at him. That's my question, stupid bastard, he said. Where can I find her? Tsunade-sama isn't someone you can find just like that, Hinata said. She doesn't want to come back to the village. Oh, so she's Naruto's mother, Taiga thought, sarcastically. He sighed. Just when he thought that someone could heal his little brother. Tsunade-sama, huh? Maybe Naruto meets her one day and convinces her to help Yuki. Naruto-kun, a voice called out from above, and when the four of them looked up, they spotted Kakashi. Tai-chan, too, you'll both have to come to the Hokage's office, we have something to decide. Back at the office, the three of them had just arrived and Hiruzen were staring out of the window. So you have a choice, he said and turned around to look at them. Do you want to stay in Konoha, or go home? Naruto bit his lip. I'm staying, he said, hesitantly. Tai-chan is going home. But I'll be back when Naruto is a ninja, Taiga said, instantly, but paused and looked down at the floor. Or when Yuki wakes up, he continued. Hiruzen nodded. Then, tomorrow, I'll send you with Anko's team, and I believe you have something you wanted to say too, right Kakashi? Kakashi stepped forward. Naruto-kun, I think it's time for you to meet your teachers, he said, giving him an eye smile. Naruto blinked, twice. How did you know that I said yes? Hey, don't run away. Kakashi-san, and he was gone. Kakashi-san, he sighed. Where should I meet them? The third Hokage chuckled. You can meet him at Training Ground 7, he said. You can ask your way to the grounds. Now, Taiga-kun, Anko's team leaves tomorrow at noon. You can now go and rest your foot, or go with Naruto-kun. Taiga let out a small smile, and looked at Naruto. I'll go with Naruto. Where the hell is Training Ground 7? Naruto questioned with a distressed sigh. We've asked 5 people so far, and they don't know. Taiga sighed, too, but it was an annoyed sigh. If you're smart enough to do a reduction, then you should be smart enough to realize that the only people you've asked, he started, putting pressure on the last word, are civilian. Shouldn't civilian know their city? Ask a ninja, Taiga retorted, grinding his teeth. Ask a ninja, now. Look, there's Kiba-kun and Akamaru-kun. Naruto turned to where Taiga was pointing, and indeed, there stood Kiba and his dog. Kiba also seemed to notice them, because he waved and walked his way to them. Hey, you're the corn villagers. I heard about the incident, are you okay? He asked. They nodded. Though, we're still upset about the fact that Yoshida-sensei and Ryuichi-sensei are life-threatened. Naruto answered and looked at Taiga. We still don't know if Yu-chan will wake up, or not, but we're hoping for the best. I see, Kiba said, frowning slightly. I heard you agreed to become a ninja. Are you going to meet your new teachers? Yeah, but we don't know where Training Ground 7 is, he admitted. Kiba chuckled. Then follow me, I'll get you there in no time. Sensei, Kiba said, with his mouth agape, what are you doing here? Kurenai-san, Taiga said, with a smile and excited, I haven't seen you since I arrived to Konoha. Naruto stood there, confused. In front of him were three strangers, plus Kakashi. There was a man with spiky hair, beard and a cigarette hanging from his mouth. Then there were another man, with a bowl-cut hair, thick eyebrows and dressed in a green spandex. Then the last stranger, a beautiful woman with shoulder-length black hair and red eyes. For some reason she reminded him of Taiga's mother, Kazumi. Naruto-kun, Kakashi sang, turning the distracted child's attention to him. I've made a plan over your training, already. Your first lesson is about chakra, a ninja's life source. You will have a week of training with Sarutobi Asuma. The bearded man waved at Naruto. Hi, he said, smiling. Kakashi coughed to clear his throat. The second week is about taijutsu with Maida Guy. The man dressed in a green spandex saluted with a great smile. I am the youthful Maida Guy. Naruto tried to smile, but failed to do so when Kakashi again coughed, this time for attention. The third week will be with me, as a ninjutsu coach. You already know me, so I don't need to introduce myself. The fourth and last week before the Chunin exams is with Yuhi Kurenai and is about genjutsu. Yuhi Kurenai, the woman with black hair said. Though, you don't need to master genjutsu, you'll have to know the difference between reality and illusions. Do you understand your training plan? What the hell is genjutsu? Illusion, Naruto thought, but decided not to say out loud. Yes, I understand. Then, after you've seen Taiga-kun off, we'll meet here, Kakashi said. Your first tutor is Asuma with your chakra. We should talk after this, Asuma. Asuma looked at Kakashi. Why? He asked. Don't ask, he replied. And so, after they left, Kakashi and Asuma met up at a bar in town. Maybe they would drink a little sake, maybe not. It was a hard decision considering they had to wake up early the next day. A little drink wouldn't hurt them, they thought, so they ordered some sake. So, Kakashi, Asuma started. What did you want to talk about, and why is it so important that we have to drink on it? Kakashi chuckled. You're the one who suggested the bar, he retorted, but turned serious after. It's about Naruto-kun. The two of them took a sip of their drink before they continued. What about him? He asked. Is there something wrong? You know how he is the forgotten boy. The forgotten boy, Asuma muttered. People call him that because the villagers don't remember him at all, and it's only a few of the high-class ninjas who remember. I still wonder why the council didn't make a search for him. Kakashi nodded in agreement. It also seems like he's still unaware of Kyuubi and his memories. Hokage-sama and I talked about how it might be Shisui's genjutsu that has caused him the memory loss. Father and you? He mumbled. How do you know that it was Shisui? Naruto-kun remembered an Uchiha whose name started with an S, he answered. How could he remember that? Isn't Shisui's jutsu always bulletproof? Shouldn't it have been released by the time he died? The two of them thought about that for a moment. His jutsu might be, but Shisui is not. Before his death, he might have passed it on to another. Asuma blinked, confused. What? He can pass it on? How in the world is that possible? Hokage-sama and I talked about how Naruto-kun could probably break it himself, but I don't think that's the case. No matter how strong, genjutsu can be broken with death, and I think your father thought of the same, but didn't want to tell me. They took yet another sip from their cups before they continued. So, someone has taken over the jutsu. Who? We think that there were two Uchihas at the time Naruto-kun was taken away. One of them Shisui and another Itachi, Asuma finished. We think alike, Asuma, Kakashi said, with an eye smile. But now tell what I wanted to talk about. About Naruto-kun's chakra. I'll make sure he doesn't find out about Kyuubi. That's not the case, he retorted. Asuma blinked. Then what is it? It seems like Naruto-kun unconsciously uses his chakra, he said. In the corn village when we found out about how Tai-chan broke his leg, apparently he was fascinated by how Naruto-kun ran up on the surface of a tree, without using his hands. Asuma's eyes widened. What? How is that possible without proper training? Kakashi nodded. That's what I thought, but I have a theory. What kind? Naruto-kun might not have been trained, but that doesn't mean that his chakra is inactive. I think that in the spur of the moment, to save a cat, he developed a feeling on how to do the tree climbing exercise. I'm asking you today, because you're the one who is going to train him in chakra manipulation. Naruto-kun is a special kid. And I want to know if you can wake the talent, which is resting inside of him, up. Asuma smirked and laughed as he took another sip from his cup. Don't underestimate me, Kakashi. I've taught chakra manipulation to a bunch of kids, and all of them have succeeded. I'm not just going to wake up his talent, I'm going to wake up his inner ninja. Week 1. Naruto's life was plain ordinary when he lived in the corn village. No one expected anything from him, nobody forced to do anything, yet he was one of the most dependable children in the corn. Now, he's in Konoha, where Hitaki Kakashi expects a lot of things out of him and where Haruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke forced their dependence on him. With Sarutobi Asuma at Training Ground 7, he was trying to understand what exactly was being told. What was this thing about chakra? Was it really necessary for him to know? Spiritual energy, physical energy? They mix what the hell? Naruto was sitting on the ground in front of Asuma, with his mouth agape and his eyes about to fall. It was 6 in the morning. He was not used to wake up that early, but to become a ninja, he had to. Sensei, Naruto called out, with his hand raised, can you explain that more simple? Asuma blinked, and then laughed. Naruto-kun, you have 2 types of energies. Naruto nodded at it, one spiritual and one physical. These 2 combined creates chakra, do you get it? Asuma asked, and once again his student nodded. By meditating you can strengthen your chakra, and by doing control exercise, you can strengthen your own power. Oh, he muttered, half-heartedly. Alright, spiritual energy and physical energy creates chakra. But why do I have to know that to use it? I've heard that you've used chakra before, to climb a tree? Asuma questioned. I did? Naruto blinked. Ah, maybe it's from the time that Tai-chan broke his foot. I guess I felt some sort of strange feeling. Maybe that really was chakra, he thought, feeling a slight headache forming. Maybe I did. Do you remember the feeling? He thought about it for a moment. My legs were stronger, I guess. It felt kind of weird when I ran up. It was like I was hanging from a rope, or my feet were stuck to the tree like a magnet. Like a magnet, good, Asuma said, as he threw a kunai at Naruto's feet, and he screamed. Are you trying to kill me? He asked, panting in shock. That was dangerous, sensei. He laughed at the poor, shocked boy. Use that kunai to mark how high you've ran up the tree, and then you'll try to surpass that. But first, we'll have to meditate to get a chakra reaction from you, he said, as he sat down on the floor and folded his legs in a meditation position. Do as I, and focus on the energy inside of you. Naruto did as he said, and sat down in the same position as his teacher. Focus on the energy inside of me, huh? That should be easy enough, he thought and closed his eyes. Energy, 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 physical and spiritual combined gives chakra, the energy I should focus on. Asuma didn't meditate with him, but watched the boy in action. So far, I can't sense anything, he thought. I guess the natural instincts are only for when he really needs it. He examined the boy, trying to find out where he was wrong. He's tense, that's for sure. Is he even trying to focus? Naruto's breath became irregular, and he soon broke out of the meditation, panting. I failed, he muttered. Asuma-sensei, where am I going wrong? This is too hard. He looked down at the ground, trying to catch the breath he had lost from focusing too much at the same time. You're wrong in your focus, he answered, plain and simple. Too much concentration won't do, you have to relax at the same time. Even though it's the same thing, you have to stop being so tense about it. Relax while focusing and stop the tense atmosphere you were creating, do you get it? Naruto took a deep breath, before going into the same position as before, and then exhaled. I get it, sensei, and I'm ready to go again. Not too much focus, he took a deep breath, relax, he exhaled, stop being so tense, he took yet another deep breath, and then exhaled. Focus on the spiritual and physical energy, which lies within you. Focus on chakra. Asuma's eyes widened. I sense a reaction, he thought as he looked closer at the boy. He took my advice and used it properly. I have to give it to Kakashi. This boy is something. The energy from Naruto began being visible, the tense atmosphere was gone and he was finally doing it right. Naruto was taking control of his chakra, and Asuma couldn't be prouder of seeing such a development from a novice. He let him meditate for an hour or two before Naruto broke it. The little boy broke into a grin and laughed. I did it, didn't I? Asuma nodded in response, grinning just as wide as him. I'll now explain the tree climbing exercise. To climb a tree without your hands, you need a small, yet precise, chakra amount to the bottom of your feet. It is said that the feet are the hardest place to gather chakra, so if you master this exercise, you'll be able to do any kind of jutsu, hypothetically. Gather chakra to the feet, Naruto wondered. What happens with too much chakra? You could break the tree, he answered. Too little? You'll fall off instantly. So that's why there has to be a precise amount, he thought and looked at a tree. I'll choose this tree, but I don't think that I can do the same thing like I did at home. Asuma smiled. I'm not expecting you to get it on your first try, I'm expecting you to train with all of your power and complete this exercise. Climb the tree until you're exhausted, he said and left the place with teleportation. I'll make it my goal to be able to teleport, Naruto thought and began the exercise. Not too much, not too little, it has to be perfect. And so he tried as he formed his hands into the sign he was taught, the ram sign, and closed his eyes. He began thinking back to the time in corn, and then snapped his eyes open, as he headed for the tree, straight on. He's working hard, a girl said, with a smile on her lips. Don't you think so too, Sasuke-kun? He's talented to be able to get that far already, the boy answered. It has been 5 days, he only has 2 more days until his chakra training ends. Maybe you should give him the same advice like you gave me, Sakura. I think I want to see how far he can get without it, she said, chuckling slightly. But what do you think of his chakra? It seems pretty powerful to me. There's a good amount, the most I've seen between us rookies. We'll have to watch out, or he'll surpass us in no time, Sasuke replied. Do you think that he'll be able to complete the exercise? Sakura nodded. You said he had talent, Sasuke-kun. He'll get far with just talent, but he'll need to understand the art in being a ninja, before he can even think of exceed us. To be honest, I don't think he can get that far, in just a month. We'll be surprised by the results, no matter what, he said. Ah, he fainted. They sighed in unison, as they jumped over to him. Let's get him to the Hyuga residence. They both lifted a shoulder each, and dragged him with them. He really needs some new clothes, these are getting worn out, she said, looking at all the holes and scrapes in his outfit. He's kind of heavy, too. I wouldn't expect that from someone who looks so thin, maybe he's getting stronger. Sasuke nodded. Indeed, he's getting heavier, he's putting on some muscles after he has trained for 5 days, straight. I really can't wait to get a 4th member. He's going to be our 4th, Sakura said, grinning. I guess we'll have to trust Kakashi-sensei's judgment and believe that Naruto-kun can become a full-fledged ninja in a month. Really, this little guy is probably going to get stronger than me, how I hate that feeling. The stronger he gets, the less worried I'll get, Sasuke said. But I'll still protect him. To abandon your duty is not courageous, Sakura started out. Below the courageous, there is nothing. The words of the 4th, huh? He muttered in response. I guess you can say that it's my duty to protect him. It's our duty, Sasuke-kun, she corrected. It's the duty that we've taken on as a team. We'll have each other's back and we'll never betray one another. It's not a job, Sasuke-kun. It's the meaning behind teamwork. It was day 6 now, and Naruto was exhausted again, whilst laying on the grass. Damn it, this is the second to last day, and I still don't know how to complete this exercise, he thought. Why haven't I seen any ninjas, other than the Hyuga clan? Have they all abandoned me already? Naruto-kun, a voice called out, and Naruto turned his attention to the voice. Focus on the tree, nothing else but the tree. Sasuke-kun, Naruto muttered, getting up on his 2 legs. I have to focus on the tree? If you only see the tree, you'll find out how to do it, he said. Erase the whole area and watch only the tree, whilst any other place is in the darkness. You want to get to the top, so watch the tree, and you'll be able to do it. He took a deep breath, and exhaled again. He turned to look at the tree, and then focused on his chakra to his feet. There was too little chakra before, and too much chakra before that. If I can find the middle of those two, then I can do it, he thought and looked at the tree. Only the tree. So you decided to give him some advice, a boy said, walking beside Sasuke, Sakura. A poof sounded, and there walked Sakura, indeed. Why did you have to show up as me? You wouldn't listen to my advice at first, she answered. Every guy has a pride of steel, so I transformed into you, instead. You think you'll be able to it now? Sakura smiled. He was already close without the advice, now he'll complete. I did it, a loud voice shouted, and the two looked back at the training ground, where Naruto was standing on top of the tree. Finally. Ah, thank you, Sasuke-kun. She finished. He's really loud. Now he'll think that I'm actually kind, he muttered. We should be proud of him, but I'm sure that he'll die when the taijutsu training starts. Let's hope he doesn't, we could really use him in the Chunin exams. He's still laughing, Sasuke said. Maybe we should tell him to do it a couple of more times, just so he could get the feeling to stay there. He'll manage. Week 2. Don't worry, Naruto-kun, a loud, confident and manly voice said. I'll get your youth to kick in with the taijutsu you're about to learn. Naruto tried to smile, but failed horribly and looked at Kakashi, who was standing beside him. Guy, maybe you shouldn't overdo it. We want him alive, he said, only managing to tense Naruto up. Remember, Guy, he's a beginner, his stamina is low and his muscles are weak. Just teach him the basics, and if he masters them, then go to your ultimate taijutsu training. Naruto blinked a couple of times. Ultimate taijutsu training? Do I really want to do them? And what did he mean by wanting me alive? Am I going to die? Oh no, I knew this was a mistake. Naruto was panting. It was hard to breathe in that heat. Quite funny actually, when Naruto was on the ground, he didn't feel like this. This so-called warm-up was killing him. Guy was weird, he thought. He couldn't survive this, could he? He understood the meaning of warm-up, but what the hell was he doing on top of Konoha's walls? Rewinding a little, Naruto-kun, Guy started, with a loud voice and gave him a thumbs up. Do not worry about your physical conditions. In this week, we're going to have you build up those muscles that are waiting for your attention. We're going to make sure that youth's flame will be visible on your skin. To youth, Naruto was flabbergasted. Weirdo, what does he mean by youth's flame? He's trying to kill me. He's a part of Kakashi-san's plan on killing me, he thought paranoid. Sensei, what kind of exercises are we going to do? Guy chuckled. I'm glad you asked, Naruto-kun, he said, grinning as his teeth shined and the student instantly paled. Of course, I'll have to obey my lifelong youthful rival, Kakashi, so I'll start with the basics. As a warm-up, 5 laps around Konoha. Naruto had a good reason to be scared. 5 laps around the whole village? 10 laps around the training grounds was enough to take all my energy, he thought. Sensei, what do you mean 5 laps around Konoha? Don't worry about your stamina, Naruto-kun. I'm worried about my life, he thought. I'll give you a special present. A present that only a few people have obtained, Guy continued. Most ninjas would make fun of it, but it has made many people stronger. It is the great, green spandex. My most precious student is wearing one, and I want you to wear one too. No matter what, Naruto-kun, Kakashi had said to him, before he left him alone with Guy. I repeat, no matter what, I'll refuse to have you on my team if you wear one of those hideous spandex, do you understand? Naruto looked at him, confused. Although, it sounded tempting. I won't just refuse to have you on my team. I will personally make sure that you won't be able to walk around in that clothes. You do not want to know how I'll do that, he continued, with a slight glint in his one eye. Clouds were pretty, but Naruto's skin color would put even the snow to shame. That student, he's not human is he? He's a monster, he has to be. I shouldn't take it, hurry, change the topic, he thought. Sensei, you do know that I can't run around a whole village, right? Guy broke into a huge laughter. There's no such thing as impossible in your youth. You can do whatever you want, as long as you believe in it. I don't want to run 5 laps around a village, Naruto thought, bitterly. I don't even believe in it. My student runs 20 laps a day, so I'm actually going easy on you, the teacher said, still grinning. Not to mention, he does 5,000 pinky finger push-ups, with each pinky, 1,000 one-legged sit-ups on each leg. Runs around town on his hands. Kicks a tree at least 4,000 times, with each leg and punches a tree 4,000 times with each hand. There is no such thing as impossible for my Lee-kun. He's only a year older than you, too. Not every ninja is like this, are they? Naruto sighed, and looked around the training grounds. Sasuke-kun won't help me this time, would he? I wonder what Tai-chan is doing. No, they can't possibly have fun, when Yu-chan is in a coma. I just have to bear with it. Do you still think that merely 5 laps are impossible? Guy asked. I don't think so. Let's run those laps like it's our last. It might be my last. Naruto was panting. It was hard to breathe in that heat. Quite funny actually, when Naruto was on the ground, he didn't feel like this. This so-called warm-up was killing him. Guy was weird, he thought. He couldn't survive this, could he? He understood the meaning of warm-up, but what the hell was he doing on top of Konoha's walls? Or right, he was warming up, as Guy called it. It wasn't even half of the first lap, and he was exhausted. Sensei, I can't go on, he said, collapsing. Guy stopped up. I was even going in his slow pace, but maybe this exercise is a little too tough for him, he thought and walked over to the collapsed boy. There, Naruto-kun, maybe we should just do some kicking practice, and then we'll do some punching practice and call it a day. Naruto looked up with hopeful eyes. Really, you're not joking, right sensei? He let out a laughter, which echoed around the walls. I never joke, young student, I should have known better than making you, a novice, do this kind of exercise, he said. Although, I had expected him to be more eager to do this, after he excelled in the chakra workout. He boy smiled. Although this was tough, it's kind of fun to see Konoha from here, he said looking at the scenery, which was the village hidden in the leaves. I wish we had such a spot back at home. This is really refreshing. Even though he was still panting and about to faint from lack of oxygen, Naruto held his head high and inhaled the fresh air above the village. Really, I bet my village would be even more beautiful than this. It's the third day of his taijutsu training, right? Sakura asked, the boy walking beside her, Sasuke. He nodded in response and looked at Konoha walls. I heard that Guy-sensei almost made him run 5 laps around Konoha, he said. Tough for him, but he'll need it. We can't go protecting him during the Chunin exams. Sakura looked at him. It's not even for sure that we'll get to take part in the exams. Naruto-kun has to go through one himself. We can't just let in an academy student-leveled ninja, right? We'll die if that was to happen. Well, he probably won't be strong enough to defeat one of this year's rookies, but his growth will amaze us. That's for sure. Yeah, his growth will be amazing. That's the only thing you've talked about so far, she said inside. Just agree. I didn't say I didn't, Sakura said and looked forward. Ah, Ino pig. That's a good form, Naruto-kun. Guy said, as he watched the boy throwing the kunais. Although, Guy was to only teach him taijutsu, the boy still needed kenjutsu. He watched him for the next few throws, and then stopped him. Alright, 6 out of 10 hits a vital point on the mark. That's excellent improvement. Your muscles have grown as well, your punching and kicking have improved and your stamina has gone up. With this sort of development, you should be able to finish all the basics in the next 3 days, and then we'll do something fun on the last day. Yes, sensei, Naruto said, happily. He was tired, yes, his legs were sore and he was about to collapse, but for some reason, it was fun. Next is the taijutsu training, where I'm going to combine it with chakra, right? Exactly, look forward to see the great power you will release, once you master it. I will, he laughed. Ah, I can't get too excited over this, but taijutsu is so fun. Maybe I should become a taijutsu master, like Guy-sensei. But I'll have to surpass this Lee-san, right? Oi, I'm getting too excited, I should get my priorities straight. Yosh, that's how it should be. You'll get a 5 minutes break, to get hydrated, and then we'll train like never before, alright? Yes, sensei. On the 7th day, they appeared to be running, but it was much deeper than just that. Jumping from building to building, whilst throwing with shuriken and kunais, aiming for the target sat up around the village. Yes, this exercise was the last one. Although his legs were sore and tired, he kept on running. He was panting hard and sweating, and the weather was hot. He looked to his left and saw a target, whilst he was jumping from one building to another. He threw a star and hit the head of the target. He ran along the roof of the building he had just landed on and looked all over the place for another target. Listen now, Naruto-kun, Guy started, in this village. I have put up 10 targets for you to hit. You have to get used to jumping whilst running, and this is the best way to do it. When you jump, you should not hesitate, and if you miss your landing, use your chakra to save yourself. You'll only have 10 shuriken and 10 kunais, so if you miss a target, you're as good as dead. At first he was nervous about jumping that far, but when he put chakra into it, he could make it. 5 targets had passed, and he was still searching for the 5 others. Alright, up until now the targets have been 20 meters apart, but I've passed 80 already, so I probably made the wrong turn. He turned around and ran about 50 meters, and then jumped to another building. There, indeed, was a target. He threw a shuriken, but missed. Crap, I'm dead, but I've gotta hit the other targets before this ends. With those thoughts, he ran further away from the missed target and found yet another one. This time he threw a kunai, and yet again, he missed. He winced, slightly, but moved on without hesitation as soon as he saw another target. I don't necessarily have to throw them, right? He looked at the target and closed in on it and pulled out a kunai, as he jumped to the building it was standing on. He landed with his feet on the target's shoulders and stabbed the head with the kunai. 8 found, 2 missed, 6 hits, the next one is about 60 meters from here. He jumped from the building to the next and ran along the roof. He then jumped to the next building and from there, to the next. 10 meters, between me and the target, I can hit it. He pulled out a shuriken and as he jumped to the next building, in midair, he threw the star hitting a vital point, the heart. Alright, next one is the last. Where is it? He looked around, still running. He was still panting, exhausted, but he kept going until he found the last target. 60 meters, on top of the Hokage Tower, he thought and kept running in that exact direction. He put his hand in his hip pouch and took out the last weapon he had. A shuriken. Forgetting all about aiming, he threw the shuriken and hit the target in the heart. He stopped up. The little game was over, and he smiled. Out of nowhere came Guy, and put a hand on his shoulder. You did great, Naruto-kun, he said, looking down on the panting boy. 8 out of 10 was hit. 7 out of 8 was hit in a vital point. You can only be proud at the result. Naruto nodded, trying to control his breathing. What now? He asked. Guy laughed, loudly and shook his head. Now, it's over. You've finished your taijutsu and kenjutsu exercise, he answered. You should be proud of yourself. A normal civilian wouldn't even survive a day with me. Remember to aim for the walls, alright? He looked at him, questioningly. The walls? Aim for the stamina and run those laps around the village. Naruto's face brightened, slightly. Yes, sensei. Week 3. The memorial stone, which contained names of the ninjas killed in action. In front of that stone were flowers and a pair of orange goggles lying, showing that someone had recently visited. That was of course, Kakashi, who was standing in front of said stone. Naruto had just arrived, but as he looked at his new teacher, he didn't even see him move a muscle. Kakashi-san. Sensei, Kakashi corrected, before Naruto could say anything else. It's sensei from now on, Naruto-kun. He just nodded and looked at the stone Kakashi was standing in front of. Kakashi-sensei, what is this? He asked. Kakashi gave him a small smile. This is the memorial stone, especially for certain heroes, he replied, still bearing the same smile, though invisible under his mask. Heroes of this village, who has been killed in action, or Kia. Killed in action, Naruto repeated in a murmur. Sensei, could it be that the fourth's name is also on it? He nodded in reply. Why the sudden interest in the fourth, Naruto-kun? I'm kind of curious about him. About the story of him defeating the fox. I want to know how he did it, but I don't believe in the legends. A legend always gets changed in some way, he answered. Sensei, do you know the original story? It's pretty ironic, actually. What is? A story of the forgotten? Naruto repeated. What do you mean, Kakashi-sensei? Once again, Kakashi looked at him, with the same smile under his mask. I might know the true story, but this boy shouldn't know, he thought. It was an astonishing way, the fourth defeated Kyuubi, actually. A way that none of us would ever be able to do. What happened? He asked. What did he do? He used a forbidden sealing technique, which took his life, Kakashi answered. But the reason that this is the story of the forgotten isn't because of the fourth, but because of Kushina-san. The fourth was only able to seal half of the beast inside of him, using the death demon consuming seal. It was a sealing technique developed by the seal masters of the Uzumaki clan. That technique could seal even the most powerful being. Uzumaki clan, Naruto thought, as he remembered the words Sasuke had told him when they first met. Then, who is Kushina-san? Patience, Kakashi said, chuckling half-heartedly. But Minato-sensei was almost out of chakra when he decided to use that, so he, much to his own regret, only sealed half of the beast's chakra away. Only half of it was already a burden to his body, so he couldn't move properly. That's where the ever-so-beautiful, Kushina-san came in. Naruto paid extra attention at that part. He felt like there was something he needed to know about the mentioned woman. Something drew him to her. With her powerful chakra chains, she pulled the other half of the beast inside of herself and died alongside her husband, the fourth. Naruto looked lost. What? She was his wife. But how could she have pulled the beast inside of her? How come she also died? The burden was too powerful for her as well, Naruto-kun, he said, when he noticed his troubled expression. Of course, she died, when she was pierced through her stomach by the fox's claw, but I can't tell him the true story. Though, there's one true thing in this story. Who was she? He asked. I know, she was his wife and such, but how come she could pull the beast inside of her with only chakra? She was an Uzumaki as well, was the answer Naruto received. Remember that Uzumakis were seal masters. That's the sort of chakra chains it was, to seal things completely. But, although she was a hero like the fourth, she was forgotten. Not many people in this village remember her, rather they only remember her husband. It's really ironic how such a person could be forgotten. Just like every other ninja who has died, one gets the glory, whilst another is forgotten. Why was she forgotten? Naruto thought about that, over and over again. Then, sensei, didn't they have any children? Someone who would remember them forever. Like you called the fourth sensei, were you his student, or something? How come you remember them? Kakashi bit the inside of his cheeks, as he looked up at the sky. I was 15 at the time, I remember them very well. Especially since the fourth, as my teacher, was also a lot like my own father. Seeing him on this stone, along with my other comrades, it breaks me. That day, the two of them didn't get much training done. Naruto seemed a little depressed after hearing the story, so he sent him back to the Hyuga residence with a scroll of the basics, taught in the academy. In the Hyuga's home, Naruto looked over the scroll. First of all, it's the transformation technique. A technique that'll allow me to change my appearance. I think this is the one I saw Sasuke-kun use back at home, he thought as Hinata came in with some tea. He looked at her and rose from his seat. Sorry for bothering you, Hinata-san. She shook her head. No. It's nothing, Naruto-kun, she replied. You're in your ninjutsu week, right? I'm guessing you're being taught the basics. He nodded. Yes. I'm starting with the transformation technique, he said. I should release all of my chakra points at the same time, and think of an image to transform into, right? Exactly, try transforming into me, she said. If you have a clear image at first, it'll help you a lot. I used to transform into one of our clan members as training, and I succeeded fast, actually. I won't promise that it'll be perfect. It's your first try, of course it won't be perfect. Though, I've heard quite a lot about your chakra training, it went splendid, as well as your taijutsu training. Naruto smiled. It was tough, but I survived, and somehow, it was actually really fun. Then I met Kakashi-sensei, and heard such a depressing story. I heard from Neji Ni-san that Guy-sensei is a strict trainer, but he has a carefree personality. Neji Ni-san, siblings? Cousins. Oh, well, he coughed to clear his throat and looked at the scroll he was given. Dog, boar and ram. Those are hand signs, right? Hinata nodded. Do you know how to do them? Yeah, Asuma-sensei taught me. Then try, was her final words, before Naruto began forming the three signs. Dog, boar, ram, he thought, focusing on his chakra in his body. Hinata-san, transform into, Hinata-san. He opened his eyes, which he had closed without knowing it, and looked at Hinata. Did it work? She shook her head. Try again, she said. I did it until I was drained for chakra. Amazing, I would never do that, he thought as he tried yet again. Work, 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 transform into Hinata-san. This time he actually felt something, like his head was getting hotter with the temperature. Did it work? He asked and looked at Hinata, who was just staring at him. She tried saying, but suddenly started laughing. She tried to calm herself down, and she finally succeeded, but she was still on the verge of laughing. At the very least, you got the hair correct. Indeed he did. The short dark hair was on top of his head, but the rest of the body, as well as the face, remained unchanged. He groaned. This is tough, I feel like dying. You've only tried twice. And so, the days went on. Naruto kept on practicing, training and improving his technique, little by little. He learned the transformation jutsu in a short amount of time, after receiving advice from the people who was going to be his comrades. On the third and fourth day, he learned the substitution jutsu. Same day he learned the substitution, he began practicing the clone jutsu. This time, Kakashi actually watched over him whilst he trained. Naruto kept trying the technique, but without any results. Try doing it with less chakra, Kakashi suggested and the student nodded. And so he tried, but without any luck at all. He was panting heavily and he was feeling slightly nauseous. It might be because of all the training he has been doing this month. Sensei, please excuse me for a bit, he muttered as he ran behind the bush at Training Ground 7. Kakashi winced slightly when he heard the boy barf loudly. Maybe it's too tough for him, he thought, but decided to ignore his thoughts when Naruto came back looking all pale. Naruto-kun, would you like a break? He asked. Naruto shook his head wildly, making him even sicker. I won't take a break before I master this stupid jutsu, he exclaimed, loudly, as he formed the signs necessary for the jutsu. Ram, snake, tiger, create a freaking clone. I don't care what it looks like, just create something. Kakashi-sensei? Hinata questioned, as she saw him at the porch with Naruto on his back, fainted. Did he overdo it? Kakashi nodded in response. I told him to take a break, but he didn't want to until he had actually mastered it, he said. Take care of him for now, when he wakes up you should get him a lot of rice. Maybe you could give him some advice on the clone jutsu. It didn't seem like he was going to master it anytime soon. If he doesn't master it, what happens? She asked. I can't allow him to be a ninja, he said. That was the condition from Hokage-sama. If Naruto-kun doesn't master the basics, then he can't become a ninja. I'll try my best to help him then. Please do, I trust that you can do it. She took Naruto from him, and supported him with one of his hands hung over her shoulder. Please, don't get your expectations too high, sensei. He's still a novice. The fact that he is improving in such a speed is miraculous. Kakashi chuckled slightly. Almost like he was born to be a ninja, right? The next day, Naruto felt refreshed again, so he went to train early in the morning. At the training grounds, he found Sakura and Sasuke training as well. They waved at him, and he waved back and ambled his way to them. You've learned the substitution and the transformation jutsu, right? Sasuke questioned and Naruto nodded in response. Great, then all you need to learn is the clone jutsu, and then you're done with the basics. Naruto's face fell slightly at that. About the clone jutsu, I have a question. Shoot, Sakura said. How are you supposed to feel? He asked. Every time I try, I feel a little spark, and then it dies. He feels a spark? The two ninjas looked at each other, and then back at Naruto. You just have to imagine another you, Sasuke said. Like, when you do the signs, and then imagine yourself standing beside yourself. I don't know how to explain it, but I never feel a spark. I don't either, Sakura said, agreeing with Sasuke. How much chakra do you use? Kakashi-sensei said that I should only use a little, so that's what I focused on, he answered. But no matter how many times I did it, I felt like I used too much. I just can't get it any lower than that. He sighed and bit down on his lip. The two ninjas looked at each other, yet again. You think he might? Sakura questioned. I think so, Sasuke answered. What? Naruto thought as he looked at them and listened to their so-called conversation. Then maybe he should. Yeah, I think so too. Think what? Please tell me, what do you think? Naruto tried to smile, but it turned into a scowl instead. But how are we gonna? I don't know, maybe we should ask. Yeah, that's probably for the best. They're trying to provoke me, he thought. They're doing that on purpose. Another day without luck, Naruto walked back to the Hyuga residence, exhausted. Damn it, I couldn't do it today either. What the hell is with that stupid jutsu, why'd I have to learn it? He sighed and looked up to the sky. Why can't I just get it right? Maybe because of your chakra coils, a voice said, and as Naruto turned to him, he saw Asuma. You have a very powerful chakra, Naruto-kun. If you master it, you could be an unstoppable ninja. But your chakra coils are too large. That's why you fail at mastering the clone jutsu. What does that mean? You can't ever master such a petty jutsu. You'll have to aim for something bigger, like the shadow clone jutsu. What's different? Naruto questioned. Other than the shadow part. Shadow clones are real clones, not just illusions like the clone jutsu is, Asuma answered. Though, if you want to learn that one, you'll have to ask Kakashi. I should not even say this to you. I just thought it would be better if you knew, instead of you waiting to succeed. Did Kakashi-sensei know? I think he did, he answered. But he was probably just testing it at first to confirm his theory. Then I should try the shadow clones? Well, it's a forbidden jutsu, so I don't think you'll be allowed to. Where's Kakashi-sensei? Like talking to a wall, he thought, chuckling. He's at the Hokage Tower. Naruto jumped to the roof of a building. Thank you, Asuma-sensei, he yelled as he started running and jumping from building to building. I guess he has learned a lot since I taught him. As Naruto arrived to the Hokage tower, he was just about to knock on the door to the Hokage's office, when he stopped as soon as heard some voices. "Do you really think we should let Otto join the Chunin exams?" a voice questioned, which he identified as Kakashi's. "We can't just forbid them from coming," another voice, the Hokage's, said. "Although I know why we shouldn't, this is a united exam. It is for everyone. But Hokage-sama, if Naruto-kun found out that it was Otto, he'll kill them. How is he going to find out that Otogakure, the village hidden in the sound, was the one who attacked the corn village?" That's all for now. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments.